It all started innocently enough. My wife, Rachel, had always been the life of the party. The kind of woman who could walk into a room and command it without saying a word. She thrived on attention, basked in it like sunlight, and I never minded. In fact, I loved that about her. Her laugh was infectious, the kind of sound that could light up a room and draw people in like moths to a flame. It was one of the many things that made me fall in love with her. But somewhere along the way, that vibrant charm of hers, so captivating and full of life, began to shift. What once seemed like a harmless craving for affection slowly morphed into something far more dangerous, a hunger for validation that began to stretch beyond the boundaries of our marriage. It was a Saturday evening, and we were hosting one of our usual dinner parties, something Rachel absolutely adored. She took care of everything with manic precision. The menu, the wine pairings, the floral centerpieces, even the seating arrangements. It was her stage, and I was happy to stand behind the curtain, letting her shine. Among the guests that night were a few close friends and some colleagues from her office. One of them was Derek. From the moment he walked in, I disliked him. There was something about his smug smirk and the way he seemed to take up space like he owned it, oozing arrogance with every step. That made my skin crawl. But Rachel had laughed off my concerns weeks before. "He's harmless," she had said, brushing away my unease with that effortless confidence of hers. I trusted her. I wanted to believe her. The evening unfolded as expected. Glasses clinked, laughter spilled into every corner of the house, and the warm hum of conversation filled the air. I was in the kitchen, topping off wine glasses, when I overheard Rachel's voice drifting from the living room. She was speaking to her best friend, Emily. The two of them tucked into a quiet corner, their tones low and secretive. At first, I didn't pay much attention. Rachel had a habit of sharing juicy gossip during parties. It was part of her charm, but something in her tone caught my ear, and then I heard it, crystal clear. "Have you seen Derek? That man is a god," she whispered, a giggle bubbling up like champagne. "And let me tell you, Emily, he knows exactly how to use it." Time stopped. My heart began to hammer in my chest, and for a moment I stood frozen, the wine bottle in my hand trembling. Surely I had misheard. My mind scrambled to rationalize what I'd just caught, to deny the meaning behind those words. But then Emily's reply came, sharp and shocked, the final blow I hadn't braced for. "Rachel, are you serious? What about James?" That was me. Rachel's answer came with a dismissive laugh. "Oh, please. James is great, but he's boring, predictable. Derek is something else. And he's huge. James could never." She didn't need to finish the thought. The implication sliced through me like a knife to the gut. In that moment, standing there in our kitchen, surrounded by the people I thought were part of our life, our story, I realized I didn't know the woman I had been married to for a decade. Not really, but I didn't storm in. I didn't cause a scene or scream or throw her words back at her. Instead, I swallowed the pain, buried it deep, and walked back out with a smile plastered on my face. I played the perfect host. I laughed with our guests. I even made small talk with Derek, all while my insides crumbled piece by piece. I needed time. I needed to know everything. That week, obsession took hold. I combed through Rachel's phone records, her emails, her calendar entries, anything I could get my hands on without tipping her off. The truth was uglier than I imagined. There were messages, explicit, vulgar, unmistakable in their intent. Photos, plans to sneak away during lunch breaks. Her betrayal wasn't a moment of weakness. It was a full-blown affair, carefully orchestrated and shamelessly nurtured. But still, I didn't confront her. Not yet. I wanted her to feel the weight of what she had done. I wanted the world, not just me, to see the truth. I hired a private investigator. I needed ironclad evidence, something undeniable, and I got it through the investigator. I discovered that Derek wasn't just a smug flirt. He was married too. His wife, Lisa, had just given birth to their first child. The heartbreak in that discovery only deepened my resolve. I reached out to Lisa anonymously. I showed her everything. She was devastated, but grateful. Together, we decided the truth needed to come out in a way that neither Rachel nor Derek could wriggle out of. No denials. No excuses. No, it didn't mean anything. 2 weeks later, Rachel was giddy again, buzzing with energy as she planned another dinner party. She flitted around the house humming, setting out candles, carefully folding napkins, and choosing a playlist. She had no idea that this time she wasn't the host. She was the main event. I made sure Derek was invited. Of course I did. He arrived right on cue, wearing that same smug grin he always had, like the world owed him something. He waltzed through the door with a cocky confidence that made my blood boil, flashing me a look as if we were old friends sharing a secret. It took every ounce of restraint not to punch that grin off his face right then and there. But I didn't. Timing was everything. And tonight wasn't about rage. It was about revelation. The evening unfolded like any other. Glasses clinked, laughter rang out, and Rachel played the flawless hostess. Radiant, laughing a little too loudly, absolutely unaware that her perfect little world was about to implode. Halfway through the night, as dessert plates were being cleared and the conversation was hitting that easy, wine-laced rhythm, I rose from my seat and gently tapped my glass. The sound rang out across the room, drawing eyes and soft murmurs of curiosity. Rachel turned to me, smiling, her eyes shining with expectation. She probably thought I was about to deliver some romantic toast, some saccharine tribute to our love. Everyone, I began, my voice calm and even, can I have a moment? I'd like to share something very special. The room quieted. Rachel beamed, her smile lighting up the space. For the last time that night, Rachel has always been the light of my life. I continued, feeling every word like a stone in my throat. But recently, I discovered she's been sharing that light with someone else. The confusion was instant. Faces turned. Murmurs rippled. Rachel's smile faltered, then froze. James, what are you talking about? She asked, her voice laced with a nervous chuckle. I didn't answer her. Instead, I turned toward the TV, already connected to my laptop. With a single click, the screen came alive. First came the screenshots, explicit text messages between Rachel and Derek. Dirty, flirtatious, and absolutely undeniable. The room gasped. Conversations died mid-sentence. Jaws dropped. Derek's smirk disappeared instantly, replaced by a ghost-white expression of panic. Rachel shot up from her seat. James, stop this right now, she cried, desperation creeping into her voice. But I wasn't done. The next slide appeared. Photographs, time-stamped and crystal clear. Rachel and Derek, locked in an embrace outside a hotel. Another image, him kissing her neck, her hand resting far too familiarly on his chest. A third, walking into the hotel together. There was no ambiguity, no way out. Chaos erupted. Emily looked like she might be sick. A few guests audibly gasped. And then, from the corner of the room, Lisa stood up, Derek's wife. I had invited her too. You disgust me, Lisa spat, her voice shaking with fury as she stared Derek down. You made vows to me, to our family, and this is what you do? With her? She pointed at Rachel, who had crumpled into herself, sobbing. Derek opened his mouth, trying to stammer out some excuse, but Lisa wasn't having any of it. Explain, she snapped. You think there's an explanation for this? She turned to me then, her eyes softer, full of something like gratitude. Thank you. You did what I didn't have the strength to do. You've done me a favor. With that, she stormed out, and Derek, red-faced and flailing, stumbled after her. The room fell into a heavy silence. All eyes turned to Rachel, who was now erect, makeup streaked, eyes wide with shame, body trembling. She looked around helplessly, as though expecting someone, anyone, to come to her defense. No one did. She turned to me, her voice barely a whisper. James, please, can we talk about this privately? I looked at her, really looked at her, and I shook my head. Privately? I repeated. You bragged about him, in our home, during a party I helped you host. You humiliated me without a second thought. So no, Rachel, you don't get privacy. You get consequences. She collapsed into a chair, burying her face in her hands, sobbing. But the room had already moved on from sympathy. Our friends were too stunned, too horrified by what they'd just seen. People we had known for years, some that stood at our wedding, now looked at her as if they didn't recognize her at all. In the days that followed, Rachel tried everything to pull me back. Tears, apologies, long, desperate messages. She even tried to blame me, claiming I hadn't been exciting enough. But the damage was done. I filed for divorce. When it came time to divide our assets, I made sure the truth came with it. No secrets. No quiet settlements. Rachel lost more than just our home. She lost friendships, respect, the reputation she had spent so long crafting. Derek didn't fare much better. Lisa didn't just leave him. She burned everything on the way out. Their divorce was brutal, and the scandal torpedoed Derek's career. Whatever power he thought he had vanished. As for me, I moved forward. It wasn't easy. Starting over never is. But there was a strange, liberating peace in knowing that I had finally stood up for myself, that I had taken control of my story, and ended the chapter that had turned so bitter. While Rachel and Derek sift through the wreckage of their self-inflicted disasters, I'm rebuilding. Quietly, steadily, with dignity. And this time it's on my terms.